we have built multiple applications on top of our App Studio. Some examples of those are a CRM, sales CRM, or a ticketing tool, right? So I'll just go inside one of those tools and tell you how we have built those CRMs, right? So in this ticketing management system, you can see there are multiple configurations available in the left side navigation bar, all of which combined together helps us in building an application, right? So first thing is objects. So for us, everything when we talk about building an application is in the form of data, right? In our terminology, we have classified those data points as objects and those objects attributes, right? So in a ticketing management system, your ticket, for example, becomes an object, right? Or in the use case of CAGL, where you were processing a lead becomes an object, right? Now those objects have their own properties, which we call as attributes, right? So the ticket will have its own ID, will have its own status. There will be an assignee who will be working on those tickets. So these are all classified here. Now, if you want to add new attributes, you can either select it from our global library, wherein all attributes are there, or you can add a new attribute very quickly as well, right? So let's say you want to add a location attribute, and you select the data type as map, which will store your latitude and longitude. And we also have widgets to present this data in the form of a pin on a map as well, right? And these are all the different kinds of data types that we have. Further, in these data types also, we have multiple configurations, whether if it's enumeration, we have single select, multi-select. If it's date, then we have, do you want an absolute date, relative date, or what is the date format? Do you want to include time, right? So every data type will have its own configuration. And on a overall level, all attributes have these further configurations, which will tell you whether these fields are required. Is this field supposed to be unique in the system? So let's say your mobile number or a PAN card, right, for a loan application, right? There can be only one PAN card in this. There can be only one loan application corresponding to one PAN card, right? So if I make my PAN card attribute unique, the system will automatically reject the second entry that comes in and will throw an error, right? If you have sensitive data like bank account, or even in some cases, our clients want to hide the mobile number and email ID from the agents who are using the system, right? So we can encrypt the data as well, which will mask these sensitive fields so that the agents or any user cannot see it on the system on the front end. And the next is auditable. So for whatever attributes you are making changes, right? Let's say you updated the mobile number, or you change the status of a particular object, right? These activities, so these attributes, if you make them auditable, they will start reflecting in our audit log whenever an update happens on these attributes. Now, after we have created attributes and objects, we create relationships between two different objects. So just how in our database schemas there are two tables, and we connect two tables via a primary key, we will create a one-to-many or external relationships between two different objects via a key. So that data transfer from one object to another object is very seamless, and you don't have to manually input all of the data. You just need to map one ID, and all the data will automatically be transferred to either of these tables. Then we have form. So what we do is, the first version of the form, which does not have enough validations, we generate it automatically from the system by selecting the attributes. So for the ticket, we have these attributes, right? So I just selected a couple of attributes, and these will be arranged in a manner here, right? And I can drag and drop and change the order of these attributes as well. And a form will automatically be generated like this, right? So you can see this form. This is automatically generated by the system. Now, if you want to add further validations to these, which say that, okay, my mobile number is supposed to be 10 digits, or my PAN card is supposed to be of a certain format, we can add those validations in the open editor tool, wherein you can basically customize each and every field basically at a field level. You can make customizations, right? So you can add default values to these fields. There are multiple configurations available. You can add queries. If you want to do calculations also, you can do those calculations in the form itself. So this is basically form. This is basically objects, wherein you are creating objects, its attributes, the relationships between objects. You are generating a form as well. So basically, we are using a open source tool called Flowable, which works on CMMN and BPMN model, wherein we can design very complicated workflows, wherein you have, let's say, you create a lead on your system or a ticket on your system, which is supposed to follow three steps, either parallelly or in a sequential manner, right? So you can define those tasks here. These are all again going to be different objects which are under one another parent object, basically, right? Then you can add further rules, or which will say that, okay, you need to create a payment task when this is either completed or starting, right? So again, this will have multiple logics and conditions that you can add. Let's say you create a call task first for your lead, right? And the call task is completed. And after the call task, you want to, let's say, create another follow-up call task, right? And it can have 20, 30 different steps that are going to be completed by different teams, right? And you can create all those logics, and automatically on completion of some certain task or on updation of certain value, we will create tasks or update tasks automatically via our workflows and automations. So this is just one example of a complicated workflow that is automatically generated via our UI, which is the workflow UI, right? We have created a very complicated workflow here, which resulted into such a flow chart that you can see, which has all the actions that are supposed to be done, all the tasks, objects. You can see a lot of details here, right? So this is what is getting generated from this UI, right? Now, the next thing is how we manage our UI and UX on the tool, right? So this is our pages module, wherein, let's say I'll just show you how our comprehensive ticket detail page is designed, right? So you can see everything. So on the left side, you can see a widget library, right? So there are attachments, there are buttons, there are file previews, drop downs, comments, graphs. There are n number of widgets that we can use. It's just a drag and drop, and a new widget is added on the system, right? And I can expand it, and I can further customize this widget by hiding certain fields or making certain fields editable, or pinning or unpinning attributes, and n number of things we can do via customization, right? So, and also layout, also you can drag and drop and very easily customize this entire UI. Now, if you talk about this tabs also, you can easily, if you want to see the details tab in the end, you can just drag and drop, and the details tab will automatically come to the end, right? And these are again multiple widgets that you can customize and place it anywhere as you like, based on you and your entire team's requirement. Now, coming on to the next module, which is our permissions, right? We use role based access control, wherein every role in the system will get different kind of access, and those access are also defined at a object level, first of all, right? So let's say this is admin, and this is the access that I provided to the admin. Now, firstly, we will define for what object, what kind of access we will be getting, right? So let's say your ticket is an object. So who can update the ticket, who can delete the ticket, read, update, or assign this ticket to someone else? At a very granular level, you can define these permissions, right? Now we have a field in our system called assignee, right? So the entire permission logic works on the field assignee, right? So let's say a ticket is assigned to you. What kind of access do you get is defined under self if a ticket is assigned to you. But if a ticket is assigned to someone in your team, what kind of access do you get is defined under team. If a ticket is assigned to someone in your organization, what kind of access do you get is defined here. So at a very granular level, we have handled permission via role-based access control. And if a ticket is not assigned to anyone, we have an unassigned section also, wherein if no one is assigned to a particular ticket, these permissions will apply to everyone. Next thing we have is our automations module, wherein we can create n number of automations, which can be either your CRUD operations, which is basically if I change the status of a task to this, send out an email. If I change the status of the task to this, place an order on Shopify. Any trigger and an action, you want an action to execute via a trigger, you can create very easily via our automation tool. So I'll just show you what kind of things we have here. So yeah, so these are the 5 different kinds of triggers that we have. Workboard is basically whatever is happening internally on the tool, right? So if I select workboard, it will ask me to select the application, the object that I want to, the object where the trigger is occurring, right? So I will then select on status update, let's say, right? What if I have further conditions that if my status equals this or not equals this, I can add further conditions and actions to this, right? Now in actions, I can either run a custom script. This is where our low code bit also comes into the picture, wherein if you want to write a custom code, right, it is written in either JavaScript or Python, the most basic languages. You can run a script, and you can attach a script to this, and automatically on the trigger of status update on a ticket, this script will automatically run, and whatever you've written in that particular code will get executed, right? Apart from that, if you want to create more tasks or create or let's say send an email, right? So I just select send email via SendGrid. I have templates that I have already created in the system, which are showing here. So I just select a template, and I have a connection. We have connections for our integrations module, right? So we have multiple vendors like SendGrid, or for dialers, we have Amoga, Exitel. So we create connections in the tool. Now, once one connection is established, you don't need to integrate it continuously. Those connections are always available in the system, right? So you can just directly select a connection, and then you can select. So these fields now are your attributes that you have in the system, right? So if in to field, I can just search for email attribute and it will automatically map out the email ID for that particular ticket for which the status is getting updated. And then you have your CC as well. And this is the template that you have, right? Now you can add more custom fields to this. And just on a click of save and publish, this automation will be up and running, right? So your email automations can be configured in a matter of 2 minutes, in fact. And this is just email. You can do WhatsApp integration, send out WhatsApp messages, or do any kind of activity on the tool. If you want to automate certain things on the tool, you can create it via our automations module. Last thing that I would like to show is our dashboards, wherein basically everything is happening on the system, right? All activities that are there, all basically, if you're tracking lead data or ticket data, right? Everything is on the system. So you can define any kind of matrix and we will be able to create such dashboards for you. And we have n number of charts that would be able to, cater to all kinds of charts or however you want to visualize these data points, right? So I'll just edit one chart and I'll show you the library that we have. So these are the kind of charts that we have. It can either be 2D graphs or 3D graphs, or a funnel chart, or if you want a histogram or a bar graph, we have n number of charts which will help you make more sense of your data. When we talk about our integrations, we have this connections module where we have listed down certain integrations for which we already built out our connections. Now, apart from these, if there are any other integrations that are required, so this is an outdated list. We have added Shopify, Razorpay, WooCommerce, and I think there are a lot of easy ecom. There are a lot of other integrations that are already a part of this list, but not added into this UI. But apart from the list that we already have, right, we've already done. If you have any other integration that you want to do, you can just get the APIs and the API documentation to us, and we will very easily be able to integrate with those tools via the APIs. Also, when we talk about automation, right, any automation automatically generates a webhook, right? So if we want to pull data from your system, we can very easily create an automation here and just copy this webhook and provide this webhook to you. And on your trigger, this webhook will automatically capture data and this automation will get executed. And in our system, let's say a ticket will get created, right? If on a website, on your website, if there's a form, on the completion of that form filling, we will get our webhook triggered and that data will be passed on to us and we will create a ticket via our automation, right? So we can create webhooks very easily as well for us to provide to you so that you can push the data via your system.